national, and international listeners for tuning in to the number one talk show for thriving women. My name is Sherry Thompson. I'm streaming from the great state of Illinois, from Flossmoor, Illinois, and I have with me my Thrive Tribe. Now, we call ourselves the Thrive Tribe. See, I'm getting it twisted myself. The Thrive Tribe, because we represent women like you that are progressing, flourishing, and thriving. Now, our mission each week is to inspire, inform, and empower you to thrive, not just survive. So let's take a moment and introduce the Thrive Tribe. We have Noelle Ramos. She's a registered rep from Core Cap Investment in Grayson, Georgia. We have Sabrina Protic, author, certified life coach from Tampa Bay, Florida. We have Stacy Solie, menopause coach from Palm Harbor, Florida. And we have Carmen S. Miller, family law attorney from Holiday, Florida. And we have Andrea Boenzi from the great state of Arizona. She's from Tucson, Arizona, who is usually the host, but she's had some family matters that she had to take care of. So we just say a prayer for her, her family, and her friends. And also a prayer for me to fill her huge shoes that she has left. So with that being said, today our hot trending topic is on price gouging. Now, this is a term referring to when a seller increases the prices of goods, services, or commodities to a level much higher than that is considered reasonable or even fair, and it's considered exploitative, potentially to an unethical extent. Now, Stacy, have you noticed that when you go shopping, the shelves are empty in Florida?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. I was out just looking for some hand sanitizer and just some travel ones. I have some others, and there was nothing to be found.
Wow, shelves are empty.
Yeah,
and what about?
There's no wipes or sanitizers or anything like that.
Oh, that is crazy. That is crazy because they said there was a woman in New Jersey who traveled around. She went to about 6 different stores trying to find some hand sanitizer. And then when she did finally find it, they wanted $50 for it. That's crazy.
Oh. Yeah, that's
terrible. Crazy. They're just they're taking advantage of people right now. I think that's just awful. I just can't imagine the reaction that probably would come through my mouth and through my face if someone, actually asked me to pay $50 for some hand sanitizer. Last week, a hardware store in Manhattan was fined for hiking prices on products like hand sanitizer and antibacterial wipes or cleaning products made popular in recent weeks, due to that spread of the COVID-19. Now, Carmen, are you there? What are the steps we need to take if we notice price gouging in our local stores? Carmen, do I have you? Or you might be muted, hon. I think he muted everyone. Carmen's our family law attorney. So she can let us know what's going on. Carmen, are you there? I think we have the wrong person on the.
Hey, Sherry, this is Deidre from Tampa, Florida. I just want to interject something while we're waiting for Carmen to come on about this this price gouging thing. I'm here in Tampa, just like Stacy and Dana and Sabrina. And so what's going on? I went to Costco last week. So first of all, the time I walked in the door, the first thing the person said was, "We have no hand sanitizer anyplace." So that was, I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Yeah, well, nothing beats good old hot water and soap, okay?" And then they were only allowing us to get 5 cases of water. So some places are regulating, what you can purchase. But now, for me personally, I haven't seen any price gouging yet. But but we're stocked up here. I know we are here in our household.
Okay, that's good. And you know what? I haven't. I usually keep a couple of cases of water. I actually buy the gallons of water. So I haven't really been to the store to see where the shelves were empty. I've been hearing, quite a few things. And again, even with the hand sanitizer, man, I've always had it all around because I've always had kids, and my kids are grown, but it just seemed like it was something that I always did. So my stock hasn't gone low yet, so I haven't had to go to the store and see any of that. But you said that they're holding up how many cases you can buy. They're only allowing you to take so many cases.
Right, they're only allowing you to take so many cases of water, and now some of the other stores, they're only allowing you, they just have a limit on what you can purchase. Because another thing, people are buying it, and then they're reselling it and, gouging people.
That's terrible. Yes,
yeah.
That's terrible. Well, people are panicked. They're panicking a little.
Yeah, they are. The people are panicking, and but we just have to use wisdom. Use wisdom. Wash our hands. Stay out of the crowd, and of course, and pray. It's just that simple.
Yes. That's it. And in the United States, the number of confirmed coronavirus cases jumped to 717. Now that's at least 150 more than just on Sunday. Now, according to figures from local, state, and federal health officials, most of the deaths appear to involve patients ages 70 and older, and it's based on broad age range information, provided by health authorities. But many health officials say the best steps to take from protection are to, like you said, wash your hands for 20 seconds. I know when my kids were young, I taught them to sing the ABC song. Number one, it helped them with their ABCs. Number two, it made sure they washed their hands long enough. So wash your hands for 20 seconds and refrain from touching your face. They are also recommending that people make their own hand sanitizer. And when I read this, man, this was amazing. There are only two main ingredients in hand sanitizer, and both are easily found at most drugstores. Now, it's 2/3 of a cup of rubbing alcohol, and, most households usually do have rubbing alcohol. So it's 2/3 of a cup of rubbing alcohol, and then 1/3 of a cup of aloe vera gel. And then you can just put in a few drops, of essential oils also, that's optional. But just got to make sure that end result is to have at least 60% alcohol to be effective. And see, now, this was something new to me because I never thought about making it. But, man, that's awesome, and that's very simple to do. And you can just put that in your own travel containers. You can buy those little containers like when you're traveling and going on an airplane. They have those little 4-ounce, 3-ounce containers. You can just refill them, take them to work, take them to school, take them wherever you're going. So that's an answer right there to some of the price gouging. And I think that's right. An awesome thing. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so right now we're going to take a brief sponsor break. And when we come back, we'll introduce Tuesday's trending topic.
Thriving Women is sponsored by Trendsetter Mentor Group, a private membership for mentorship. TMG is a Facebook mentoring group for thriving entrepreneurs with a culture for caring and sharing. TMG's mission is mentoring, inspiring, and empowerment. If you're a thriving entrepreneur inspired to surround yourself with like-minded peak performers, join TMG's exclusive membership group on Facebook by sending a membership request to Trendsetter Mentor Group, a membership for mentorship. Back to Thriving Women Radio.
Okay, welcome back to Thriving Women. We have a very inspiring and empowering show for our listeners. In our business strategy segment, we are going to discuss the pros and cons of flipping properties. Now, house flipping is when someone buys a property and holds on to it for a short time and then sells it. Well, that's the flip part. And they're selling it in the hopes of making a profit. Now, instead of buying a home to live in, you're buying a home as a real estate investment. Now, sometimes flipping a house means the temporary owner has to make a lot of repairs or maybe some renovations. And other times it's owning the property until you can sell it, for more than you paid for it, plus whatever you put in to fix it up. Now, the goal is to buy low and sell high and earn a profit in a relatively short amount of time, usually within, months or a year. Now, we have invited thriving woman Dana Johnson Washington to share her journey from working as a full-time banker to flipping real estate properties part-time with her husband, Lori Washington. Now, Dana will give us the pros and cons. Now, to learn the tax benefits of flipping real estate properties, we'll ask our tax diva, Deidre Pittman, to tell us if we can flip taxes too. That would be an awesome thing to flip those taxes. Now, for our new listeners, the Thrive Tribe started a Hall of Fame for thriving women to inspire and empower us. So what are the qualifications, you may ask, to receive this honor? Well, the women we induct must be game changers. They thrive to do the impossible and make a difference. Now, some of our recent Hall of Famers were Carmen S. Miller, our family law attorney, and I said our because she's part of the Thrive Tribe. We have Alison Felix, who was a U.S. Olympian. And we also had pediatrician Nadine Burke. Now, Dana, who do we have today?
I'm glad you asked. We would like to induct Mariska Hargitay, the Law and Order SVW star trained as a rape crisis counselor, and in 2004 started her own nonprofit organization, the Joyful Heart Foundation, to support survivors of domestic violence and sex assault. Hargitay and the Joyful Heart Foundation built their healing and wellness kit for women that suffered domestic violence attacks and were in domestic violence shelters. Her character, Olivia Benson, was heavily involved in the rape and domestic cases in New York, and about every episode, she was always trying to defend the women's side because she knew the trauma they had experienced. Hargitay received all these letters from all these women, and she knew that she had to use her platform to do something really special. In California, the domestic violence service budget was in a major crisis. Since it was severely cut, shelters were forced to turn women away because they could not afford to keep them. Well, Marcia, in her foundation, fought this cause, donated money to try to show just how important it is that women have shelter that they can go to and to feel safe. In 2010, Joyful Heart moved beyond its initial goal of providing therapeutic resources to tackle a problem that outraged 56-year-old Hargitay. The backlog of rape kits and untested in every state was evidence that this was enough evidence to put predators behind bars. Hargitay worked at the Michigan Police, Wayne County, with prosecutor Lynn Worthy to raise awareness about the statistics of the untested rape kits. These women need to be respected and seen and heard. This is what she explained to People magazine.
You know what?
Wow. Thank you, Sherry.
Huge. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Dana. And you know what? I started out with the original Law and Order, so I was always a huge Law and Order fan. So especially I'm an SVU fan, and I know that show has been on, what did they say, maybe 15, 20 years. And it's awesome that she was able to grow in that role and to take it outside of the show and actually help individuals real life. Because one thing about Law and Order, I remember, some of the cases that they went over, they sometimes used maybe some of the facts. Of course, they said they didn't. But you can remember some of the facts that they used in the case that they were real life, but it was still, drama on the show. But she was able to take it away from that and go into real life and help individuals. And I think that's awesome to be able to do that. Are there any other Law and Order SVU fans out there?
This is Deidre. I am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. Oh yeah, I watch it, and this is really great information because I never knew this about Mariska. But it's awesome that she took, her platform that she was blessed with. She took her platform, and now she's the voice for those who are voiceless. And I think that's awesome. And she deserves this honor.
Most definitely. I agree. Most definitely. Now, Thriving Women Talk mission is to be your empowering light on life's journey. And to accomplish that mission, we are starting a new segment called Ask Stacy. Now, this segment will give our listeners the opportunity to email questions to co-host Stacy Solie, the Success and Menopause Coach, during the week. Now, Stacy will choose questions each week and answer it on Thriving Women. So we look forward to all of your great questions. Now, our first question was posted on our Trendsetter Mentor Group Facebook page. That question is, how can someone rediscover themselves if they feel lost? Stacy, what are your thoughts on this question?
Well, first, this is a really great question, Sherry. I think that anytime that women are going through transition, whether it's menopause or a new job or something that's transitioning them, that they're faced with a challenge, it really starts to challenge their beliefs and their identity, and it does, stretch you into this part of rediscovering yourself. So, what I like to start with is just really looking at, like, what are some of the common core values and beliefs and personality traits and interests that really define who you are today. And sometimes what I find is that even some of the things that were important earlier on, there's kind of a trend that goes on, right, as we're younger, and sometimes we can get lost and forget those things. And so it's really kind of a nice thing to be able to look at what are some of the things that have remained, constant. And so what I really invite people to do is to be able to look at what are those core beliefs, right? What are the things that are really important to you? And in other words, like, really, when no one else is around, like, what are those things that are the constant beliefs, the constant values and personality traits that are very important?
Okay.
And it really helps to be able to form that new identity, right, to kind of in that process of rediscovering ourselves. And it's part of looking at also, like, what are your dreams, right?
Okay.
What are your desires? And I think,
right.
as women, we can spend a lot of time focusing on our families or our employer or our career, right? But sometimes
right.
our own dreams can get lost. And I think that's really what the part of really challenging when you're looking at kind of redefining yourself is just looking at what are those dreams and desires, and include all of the parts, right? Not just you being a career mom or family, like, who are you? Just thinking beyond your age and your job title and your family. It's just like, what is important to you, and what are your beliefs?
Okay. Now, in looking at those dreams, I mean, it came to mind that I remember, and I always go back to when my kids were young. My youngest is 20, my oldest is 30, so my kids are much older. But even in their younger years, when you said, what are your dreams, unfortunately, my dreams at that time were always what my kids' dreams were. You know what I mean? My dreams were always about them. It was about the kids. It was about the family. It was about making them better, helping them to thrive. Everything was about them. I never thought about my dreams for just me, actually, until they were almost grown and out of high school. And that's kind of scary. So then you start to wonder, okay, because back then I thought, well, I'm only here for my kids. I'm just here to raise kids. That's what I'm here to do. And they take everything, and that's everything. So when it got to the point where they were gone, it was like, oh, wow, what do I do now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So thinking about those dreams is, I think we have to learn to do it, to think about our dreams all the time, and not just what we can do with the family, but our dreams, even as an individual, or once the kids are gone, to start thinking about that at an earlier time and knowing those dreams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes, when you do have kids still at home, it is going to be a matter of not being able to focus all of your attention on it, probably like you can right now in the stage of life that you are at with your kids being out, of your home. But if you completely lose your identity and you have lost all your dreams, or at least you've kind of separated yourself from them, because I don't really truly believe you lose them. I just think that sometimes you refocus on something else. But if you can kind of rediscover that and start, even just kind of like, when you were a kid, you used to daydream, right? Just allowing yourself, like, what would some of that be like? And also not taking the guilt or the shame with it, that it's, that there's something wrong with having some personal dreams.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Wow.
Yeah. Ladies, ladies, this is Deidre. I'd like to interject something.
Yes, ma'am.
I truly do believe that to every season there is a time and there is a place. And me being a single mom, that actually homeschooled my daughter, I was just determined that during that time I was going to focus, on my daughter. I had gone to college, I had partied, in Hollywood, done all that stuff. And like I said, being a single mom, I just made a commitment to really focus on being that mom. Because, at that particular time, it was just myself and my parents that raised my daughter. And so, but it's so funny because in doing that, in devoting that time to my daughter is now 40 years old and happily married, and everything.
Wow.
And then I transitioned into being Mama D to women across the world. Because I had thrown that into my daughter, and then I transitioned. So now I only gave birth to one daughter, but I have daughters all across the world now. So I do really believe that, you have, and of course now, sometimes my daughter's like, Mom, you really need to focus, on yourself. But that's who I am. I'm a server. I'm a giver. So I am focusing on myself when I pour into other women.
I like that. Yep, a time and a season for everything. So you're still mom. You're still mom, but you're mom to so many others. So it's almost like you just continue being who you were, just on a different scale.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm excited about this Ask Stacy. I am excited. I'm excited to see what questions we'll have next week. So, Stacy, can you share with us with your email to our listeners so they'll know where to send the questions to?
Absolutely. So it's just my name, Stacy. So STACY at stacysolie.com. And ask away at the questions. I think it's really important for us to find out and connect and know that we're not alone, because so many of us feel like we're alone on this, and we're not. And I love, Mama D, how you've taken your passion and you've redirected it. And I think that's another really great thing for our listeners to look at is what are some of the things that you're naturally doing, and just because if your kids are leaving, I don't believe it's the empty nester. I believe that you can take those same skills and to be able to look and how can you fulfill yourself in the same way. So great job with that.
Yes, that's awesome. That's being a thriving woman. That's what we're here for. That's being a thriving woman. Thank you so much, Deirdre, for your input, and also you, Stacy. Thank you so much. So at this time, we're just going to take a brief sponsor break, and we're going to come back and we're going to introduce our Thriving Women Business Strategy topic, and that is the pros and cons of flipping real estate properties. So to our sponsor break.
Thriving Business Strategy is powered by the LiveWave X39 patch. The LiveWave X39 patch is clinically proven to provide your body with a level of health and vitality that you have not experienced since you were in your youth. The technology is backed by multiple clinical studies and 20 years of development. The LiveWave X39 patch has been demonstrated to provide an abundance of health benefits. Join the Trendsetter Mentor Group on Facebook and learn more about its founder, David Smith. We will send you a free video testimony for your benefit. Back to Thriving Women Talk.
All right, welcome back to Thriving Women Talk. Now, since the early 1990s, real estate investing has become more and more popular as a way for average Americans to gradually build wealth over time. But for many years, this type of investing was almost exclusively the domain of men, while women gravitate toward the helping aspects of the industry because us being females, that's what we do, such as becoming real estate agents. Now, as of 2013, a little more than half of all realtors were women, according to the National Association of Realtors. Now, some women, real estate investors, are making money on flipping, where they buy homes in distressed condition and then resell them within a short period of time. Now, we invited Dana Johnson Washington to Thriving Women Talk to explain this concept of flipping properties. Welcome to Thriving Women Talk, Dana. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Excellent. Now, when I see flipping houses, they have all those shows on TV, flipping this, and everybody's flipping, and you have couples doing it, you have singles doing it, trying to sell the house. I mean, it's a very interesting concept, but you're one, and that's on TV, right? So, TV is TV. But can you give us, first of all, a simple definition and an example of flipping properties for someone like me who is oblivious? So I say flipping properties for dummies.
I like that, flipping properties for dummies, because
yes,
I was there. And you're right, I love HGTV. I have watched it all my life, and I still watch it. They show the pretty side, the good side, the best side. But there are some pros and cons. A simple definition, I would say a simple definition would be find a property, evaluate the property, because you have to make money off of it. You have to evaluate it to determine what repairs are needed. So find a property, evaluate the property, rehab the property, sell it within a time frame, usually 4 months, 6 months, 9 months. But you need to have a rate of return. Things come up. It's a risky business, but it's an amazing business to be in. So that would be my quick definition of flipping properties.
Okay. You have any? Can you give us an example of maybe one that you did, and maybe some of the I guess early things you ran into? Well, let me tell you where I'm coming from, because when I think of flipping properties, I think it's a great concept. But with me being a financial coach, we're teaching people, don't go into debt, watch the interest rates. When it comes to, say you find a property, and about how much, I guess I'm asking, how much money do you need to have set aside? Or what is there a percentage of, so if the house costs this much, you have this much sitting, in order to take care of the repairs and take care of this. Can you kind of lightly go into that? I hope I'm not going too deep. Or can that even be put together?
So for us and a lot of investors, we use other people's money. And basically the term other people's money is the concept of using other people's money, just what it says. There are hard money lenders. There are also private money lenders that all they do is fund real estate deals, period. And what you simply do is submit your deal to that hard money lender. And when I say submit your deal, what I mean is you call up your hard money lender, not your traditional Wells Fargo, BB&T, SunTrust, your hard money lender, because your traditional banks are not lending for this type of investment. Your traditional lenders are lending for your homes, your primary residence. This is strictly investing. So you contact your hard money lender and you tell them, I have a property, this is the address, my contractor and I have decided that we will do $50,000 in repairs, and the repairs consist of X, Y, and Z. Instead of saying X, Y, and Z, the repairs consist of kitchen, bathroom, a roof, an AC, a hot water heater, the landscape. So all of those items need to be conveyed to your hard money lender, and then you must say to the hard money lender, once I do all of these improvements, my after repair value, known as ARV, is going to be this amount. And that means that I could sell this property at market value of this amount and make this amount of money. So that hard money lender is going to then do their due diligence to make sure you said what you said is actually true. So as an investor, you have to be able to put the numbers together in order to determine the profit. And the profit has to be enough to pay your hard money lender back.
Right. Exactly.
So in terms of having, your own money, you don't necessarily need your own money, but it's good to have your own money. And the reason I say that is because the hard money lender is going to loan you 90% or 85% or 80%, but let's just say the hard money decides to loan you 90%. The 10% difference has to come out of your pocket, or the 10% difference can come from a private money lender. That private money lender can be your cousin, your neighbor, a friend, another investor, anyone who has liquid assets that they would like to loan you to fund your property and receive a return on their investment. That is a private money lender. So you don't have to use your money. You could take the hard money lender and use the majority of his money, and take the private money lender and use the rest of their money. That way you are funding your deal 100% with other people's money. So that's the quick side of it.
Okay. And you being a full-time banker at Wells Fargo, I mean, man, we have the right person answering these questions. You are definitely the right one. Now, what inspired you, though, to start this type of venture?
So, as you mentioned earlier, my husband Laurie and I, we're not only married, but we are business partners. And we are residential redevelopers here in Florida, and our primary goal is to rejuvenate our communities and create home ownership. And we do that by purchasing the distressed properties, renovating them, and selling them. We've always been fascinated of the fact of turning something ugly into something great. You know, we've always driven down different streets and different neighborhoods and said to ourselves, oh man, that house is just ugly. All it needs is $50,000, and it'll be like the wow factor, right? It's going to increase the property value, right, of this neighborhood. People are going to want to come to this area. They're going to want to live on this area because now it's turning. So that has always been it for us. And the thing is, my husband has over 38 years in the construction industry, dealing with permitting, plans, and design. And me with 25 plus years of banking, knowing the finance side, our goal was, okay, we've used our talents to grow these companies. Why not grow our own company, right? And we knew that working a 9-to-5 just wasn't going to do it. So when the opportunity presented itself, you know, I remember being in my master's program, and I got my degree not thinking I would be an entrepreneur at all. I simply got my degree because I wanted to move up in the financial industry. But I would always see myself writing a paper around having a real estate investment firm, period. Regardless of the subject, I would find a way to incorporate real estate. So, like I said, countless TV shows, watching HGTV, knowing that something's missing. They're not saying something. You know, it's great, but something is missing. I just knew it. You know, so watching the shows, analyzing what they were going to do or what we would do, we decided, you know what, the opportunity has presented itself. Our daughter, I have a 23-year-old daughter. At the time, she had graduated from high school. She had gone on with her life. So we were pretty much empty nesters, right? So it was a great time. And he was approaching retirement. So we invested into a training program because we knew nothing. We were those, dummies. We did not know anything. So we invested into our education. We started the business in 2017, and for the first year, we spent the whole year learning systems, getting templates, attending webinars, just learning what this real estate rehabbing industry was all about. And we learned that it was about building, for us, we needed to build relationships because we still had our 9 to 5. We needed to build relationship with contractors, realtors, attorneys, title companies. So those are our team. And because we have our team, he and I, we're not doing the work. We leverage our training and our education and our relationship to get the projects done. So all we are doing is putting the numbers together. We're making sure that if we purchase this property at this price, put this amount of money into it, we could sell it at this price and make a profit. So I would say, what did I learn in doing all of this? I learned that having a solid foundation is key. And my solid foundation was building those relationships and leveraging those relationships in my business. There's a phrase, and I know you all have heard of it. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to leave the room.
Yes, ma'am.
So for me, if I knew more than my contractor, why am I using him?
Exactly.
I think everybody deserves a chance, but this is a business, and with rehabbing, it's about timing, it's about money, and you get in, you get out. And the more you hold the property, the more it digs into your profit. So once we build those relationships, we were able to maintain our 9 to 5 and grow our real estate business. And, it's been working for us. And one key thing is we also found a great mentor, someone who had been doing this for a long time, who was able to share their knowledge, and we didn't have to reinvent the wheel. So those are some of the reasons why we got into rehabbing properties, and there's nothing else I would like to do.
Okay, and it sounds like you two are poetry in motion, you and your husband. You all have built a great business, and that's a great thing. And I think you may have answered this, but I was going to ask you how you find the time to do it part-time. But do you think it's because of what you just said? It's because of the relationships that you've built, where you're at a point where it doesn't take as much time opposed to someone who doesn't have those great relationships?
Bingo.
How
Bingo.
would you say that you find it? Okay.
Because we have a relationship with the realtors, they know what's going on in the market as far as inventory. So they're out there. They have access to the MLS. So they know our buying criteria, and based on our buying criteria, they send us homes or properties within those guidelines. And we simply go out, look at the property, determine what needs to be tore down, added on, or fixed up. We could do that in 15, 20 minutes. Because of our training, we've been taught how to evaluate properties. So, yes, building those relationships have allotted us time to do this whenever we want, do it part-time, do it within a short amount of time.
Okay. Cool.
Hey, can I lean in with a question here? This is Sabrina Pro.
Yes,
Hey, Dana.
Hey,
How
girl.
you doing, Dana?
I'm great.
I'm sitting here listening. I'm just like ecstatic over. Finally, we got a real explanation of what flipping houses is all about. But in your journey, can you share with us, a great example of a house that you flipped, and then on the flip side, because we know there's the sweet and the sour of an example of one that just didn't pan out. Short version.
Yes. So recently we've renovated a bungalow in the southeast side of Tampa. It's a side of Tampa that initially you didn't want to be on, but now it's trending. Everyone wants to be there. So this was a 3-2, 1,200 square feet, and it was built in 2002. So structurally, it was great. And because it was built in 2002, the windows were perfect, the plumbing was up to date, the electrical was up to date, the AC had already been replaced, the hot water heater was intact. All we had to do was come in and make it pretty, give it the silver factor, some granite, some backsplash, stainless steel appliances, some upgraded fixtures. So this was a project that was simply a cosmetic project. We were able to purchase it, renovate it, and sell it within 4 months, and we were done. So we purchased the property at $130,000. We invested $52,000 in rehab. We sold it for $225,000. After realtor commissions, closing costs, paying our hard money lender back, we netted $19,000 from this property. It was a success. No hiccups, other than my husband and I not agreeing on this mirror.
Hey, got you on that one, girl.
we know what kind of mirror we want in our properties. So that was the great story. We have had a property that wasn't so great, and the property that wasn't so great, we lost $17,000. That's a big chunk of money. I was like, whoa.
Ooh. Yes, ma'am.
I was like, whoa, yes. So I was like, are we sure this is what we want to do, right? Like, come on.
Yes.
But
you hear it, don't you, Sherry?
This goes and this goes back to, I'll say, your team. Having seasoned people on your team. What we first realized, the construction went great. Permits went great. My contractor did his thing. Everything went great. When we chose the realtor to sell the property, within the 60 days that she had the property, she was not getting qualified buyers inside the house. So she was getting activity, but not qualified buyers. And that was a problem, because as a flip, being on the market for 60 days is not good. You need to be able to sell that baby within 3 weeks to a month. And the other properties selling in the neighborhood were selling on average of 32 days. So okay, something's wrong with this picture. So we had to make a business decision to let that realtor go and bring in a realtor that was accustomed, that was used to that neighborhood. That was her market. She knew that market, and she knew what she could do. So we hired her, and within 5 days of her having the property under her belt, she had more qualified buyers in that home than my prior realtor did for the entire 2 months. So building your relationship and having knowledgeable people on your team can make or break a deal in no time. The unfortunate thing about that particular house, we discovered an unknown sinkhole claim, which created a whole lot of other problems. So instead of holding that property for 8 months, because that's what we had initially predicted, because we had built some square footage, instead of holding that property for 8 months, we held that property for 1 year, 12 months, 13 months. So we lost huge on that deal.
Wow.
So it can go either way.
Right.
Well,
either way.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that with us, because we need to have all the cards on the table, Dana. All the cards on the table.
Right.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep. I agree with Sabrina. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because in everything that we do in this thing called life, there's going to be a good, there's going to be a bad, there's going to be an ugly. So what defines us is how we work with the bad and the ugly, and we keep going. And Dana, you have shown that, because you're very excited about the good, and I think from the bad, you just learned the lesson you were supposed to learn.
Of course,
so,
it's definitely a good lesson to learn.
Yes. So I appreciate the time. I'm like Sabrina, that I've learned more about flipping than I've learned on all the great shows that they have, because you don't see much of the bad or the ugly. You see everything always turns out great. And even, we don't see the deep down problems in it. So I appreciate you, Dana, being on a call and letting us know and giving us a better foundation and education about flipping houses. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now we're going to invite our tax strategist, Deidre Pittman, and we're going to get her professional opinion on the tax benefits of flipping properties. Dana told us the ins and outs of actually doing it, but now when the money comes in, let's find out about the tax benefits of flipping those properties. So she's going to share with our listeners how having a part-time business flipping properties can create a earned tax credit. What are some of the cons in flipping properties that we should be aware of, Deidre? Can you share that with us?
Well, I'm going to talk about, I love, like I said, taxes is kind of boring. So it's like I try to come up with things to make it creative. So like today I'm talking about these flipping taxes, okay?
Okay.
So I think the first thing another thing to what we have to do is we have to distinguish. There are flippers/dealers, and there are real estate investors. And I'm going to tell you how you can distinguish between the two, because a lot of times you just hear people say, I'm a real estate investor. See, flippers, dealers, they buy and sell properties like Dana and Lori do relatively quickly. So how long a taxpayer owns the property is critical, because if you hold a single property for more than a year, the IRS considers you an investor. But if you hold multiple properties for less than a year, you can expect the IRS to designate you as a dealer, and that makes a big difference in your taxes. So I'm going to talk about maximize, exchange, hold. Okay, we're going to maximize, we're going to exchange, and we're going to hold, and we're going to talk about live-in and offset. So I'm going to give you a few little tips, because these are the ways that you can reduce your tax bills as a dealer flipper. So one of the things you want to do, we all know that real estate, investing is real estate, is a good thing to do. Okay, there's a lot of tax benefits to it. Okay, there are some soft costs that are deductible, and I won't go into detail about those soft costs, because we don't have time. But there are also some expenses that appear on that HUD-1 settlement statement that a person, can write off on their taxes. And a lot of, new real estate investors don't really take advantage of the less obvious soft costs. But you got your home office you can deduct. You can also deduct your travel, your vehicle, and as you drive to and from the property to settle, going to the title company, whatever. And then you can also deduct the mortgage interest from your bridge loan. Now, a lot of times you're going to hear realtors, no shade to the realtors. I love you guys. I like collaborating with you. But a lot of times realtors are telling taxpayers, buy a home. It's a great tax benefit. The home that you live in, ladies, it's not as good of a tax benefit as owning real estate for investment, because basically you can write off everything for that investment property, but you can't, a lot of things you can't write off, for the home that you live in. So I kind of counsel my clients. I have some clients that make pretty good money. They haven't purchased a home yet. I said, listen, why not buy yourself maybe a 3-unit, 4-unit, and you guys live in 1 unit and rent out the rest. Because guess what they can do? They get a better tax. Yeah, they get a better tax break. Also, so that's maximized. Now we're going to talk about exchange. Now there's the IRS section, and you guys can Google this, the IRS section 1031, which allows taxpayers to do a like-kind exchange to defer paying taxes. And now what this means for real estate investors, that means that they're able to defer their taxes by taking the profits from one flip and investing them into another. And I'm sure Dana and Lori, have used that 1031 exchange. Or guess what else you can do? You can hold on to the property for over a year. Now, it's not really rocket science given the whole divide between normal income and tax rates and capital gains rates. But see, these things all fall into play depending on whether you keep the property over a year or not. So there are some different tax rates and things that come into play with that. Now, you can also live in. I have a real estate investor client. He's a trip. He lives in his flips, okay? So, for instance, like last tax season, he bought 3 properties here in Tampa. So he was able to flip 2 of them, and then the third one, he just could not give it away, right? So it was just like, he was like, well, my clients call me Mama D. I'm like, I'm Mama D to everybody. He's like, Mama D, what's this going to mean for my taxes? Well, I said, Mama D is the tax diva. Anyway, make a long story short, this young man was so happy because that other property, he hadn't sold it, right? He didn't sell it for that tax year. He only sold 2. So I was able, basically, he had no tax liability at all. So guess what? He's a happy client, okay?
Yes, he is.
So you can live in, you can live in your flip. Also, you can offset losses with profit. So what happens is your loss will offset the profit from your other flips for tax purposes. So that's another thing that a person can do. Now, we're talking about, those are some tax strategies that a person can do. They may be thinking about going into the real estate industry, as a flipper. And they don't really know, well, wait a minute, how's this going to affect me tax-wise? Now, you guys asked Dana about the cons. Now, you know what? I would love to say that, it's all these great tax benefits, for flipping. But I'm going to tell you about one that is not great, and I'm sure you guys have heard of it. Capital gains. Okay?
Yes.
That's the con. That's the con to flipping, capital gains. Because, see, the profit an investor generates from the sale of a property, that's considered capital gain. So, now listen to this. The sale of a property held for a year or less, that's considered a short-term capital gain, which is taxed at the ordinary income tax rate. So, if Dana and Lori hold a property for more than a year, the profit from its sale qualifies as a long-term capital gain rate at a rate of 15 to 20%. See, so therefore, yeah, exactly. And check this out. As long as the IRS thinks that you're an investor, you can reduce your tax rate by offsetting the gain from the sale of one money-making property with the sale of another losing property. As long as the IRS deems you're an investor. So you can do that. But listen, the dealers, the flippers, they're not allowed to take advantage of these long-term capital gains rates when selling their properties, regardless of how long the property was held on to. And also, they're not eligible to leverage installment sales on that 1031 exchange. So that's why when you're thinking about, going into real estate investing, you have to really decide, hey, because my parents were in the real estate industry. This is why this is so near and dear to my heart. Well, sometimes they were dealers and sometimes they were investors. because
Wow.
based on how long they held on to the property.
Okay. Well, I tell you this, Deidre, I think that is some awesome information, and I think anyone that goes into flipping and don't have a tax diva, you better get you a tax diva, because that's a lot involved. I mean, it really is. I never knew. I didn't know much about house flipping, but even the taxes alone, and you always say that taxes is boring. It may be, but you make it exciting, because you give us some great information and some great examples. Yeah, you make it exciting. But, yeah, if you're going to flip some houses, definitely get you a tax diva, for sure.
And you know what, Sherry? I tell people all the time, we always talk about when we're going to go into business. We do all the, business plans. We're doing executive summaries. The one thing that I find that people never do when they're going into business, they never consider the type of business entity that they're going to choose based on the tax considerations. And I counsel my clients, if you're going into the real estate industry, you're going to be an investor, a flipper, you need to be a LLC. You need to protect yourself. Do not do this as a sole proprietor, please.
Great advice. I love it.
Yeah.
Great advice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dana, do you have any closing advice before we go to our next topic? Man, I'm loving this. I'm thinking about this.
Yes. Ditto to everything Mama D just said. And what I learned, another thing I learned is not all tax strategists are real estate knowledgeable. So I'm so glad Mama D is, because I utilize her knowledge a lot. But that is something you must have, a real estate knowledgeable tax strategist. So I definitely ditto everything she says. So my only advice is there are a lot of real estate is a huge area. You could be an investor, you can be a lender, you could be a realtor, a wholesaler, a project manager. But regardless of what you decide to do, just educate yourself and establish a solid team and be consistent.
That's great. Thank you, Dana. Thank you so much. Thank you, Deidre, about the house flipping. Thank you all so much. That was awesome information.
You're welcome.
Now, Thriving Women does not endorse or sponsor flipping real estate properties, but our mission is to share with our listeners business strategies that can add value and make a difference in our lives. Now, we're going to take a sponsor break, and when we come back, we will continue our discussion with family law attorney Carmen S. Miller on the ACEs study and learn more about preventing ACEs in our community by assuring safe, stable, nurturing relationships and environments.
Thriving Women is sponsored by Trendsetter Mentor Group, a private membership for mentorship. TMG is a Facebook mentoring membership with thriving entrepreneurs, the culture of sharing and caring. TMG's mission is mentoring, inspiring, and empowering. If you are a thriving entrepreneur and inspired to surround yourself with like-minded peak performers, join TMG's exclusive membership group on Facebook by sending a member request to Trendsetter Mentor Group, a membership for mentorship. Now back to Thriving Women Radio.
Well, welcome back to Thriving Women. We want to welcome back to the show Carmen S. Miller, family life attorney. We are honored to induct Carmen into the Thriving Women Hall of Fame, which was inspired by your leadership. Now, Carmen, can you share with our listeners why you received the Humanitarian Award from the Citizens Commission for Human Rights? And two-part question, how the Baker's Act affects us?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yes, the Baker Act it's a Florida law that essentially states that you can be involuntarily civilly committed for a psychiatric examination for up to 72 hours by law, period.
Okay.
And I need everyone to really understand those words. So that means someone who thinks that you might be essentially crazy, let's just call it what it is, can have you, taken from your home, your office, your work, whatever, in a police car, of all things. And this includes children. So children can affect, this affects children even from schools. But and that's a whole other topic. Oh, Lord, that's a whole other topic. But anyways, and taken from, your place of safe space, essentially, and locked up. And when I was a public defender in Tampa, of course, we were assigned these cases because there was a deprivation of your own liberty, okay? You could not come and go as you pleased. You were locked up for some doctor girl, I wish I could get fully into the Baker Act in Florida. So kind of not even a doctor, so I'll just leave it at that, ... Okay. But someone of a semi-professional experience, ... could say, you know what, I think this person is a danger to others, a danger to themselves, or is neglectful of themselves, and I think they just need to be evaluated, ...
Okay.
And that's a problem. But that's why I received that award. I would give seminars for the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, CCHR, just to educate people, maybe 2 people at a time, 10 people at a time, 40 people at a time. Just let them know this law is not that great.
Wow. Wow. Now, how has changing, because you changed from criminal law to family law, how has that impacted you as a thriving woman?
Well, from criminal to family, I've always seen the interplay between family and criminal. A lot of things that happen in the family law leads to criminal law. And that could be anything from, not proper models of behavior in the home, or, well, I guess that's really the big thing, not proper families.
Okay.
But also, what if you live in a home where both of your parents work? Or you live in a home where there are multiple children? There's a difference between being, 2-parent, 1-child home, being a 2-parent, 5-child home versus a 1-parent, 6-child home. There are things that are going to go on, and it's an interplay, basically, about what happens with these people and these children. And, I wish I could just say, stop having kids, zip up your pants, keep your legs on the floor, as, the old school thing. But, we can't really say that to people anymore. But at the end of the day, it's like, why do you have 6 kids? I'm kind of thinking about that. On the other hand, it's like, okay, you have 6 mouths to feed. So how can I help you get those mouths fed, get them properly housed? You don't want 6 kids living in one room. If you can only afford a 2-bedroom apartment, that's not going to be a good, that's not ideal. I guess I'll say that. It's not ideal.
Right. I understand that. But you know what? I appreciate the work you've done, especially with education people on the Baker Act and, with helping families, because initially I always say we're all here to help somebody. And you have helped in 2 great realms with that Baker Act and with families. So I just want to say I and a Thrive Tribe, we appreciate you. We really do.
Oh, thank you so much.
No problem. Now, while we're on the topic of thriving women making a difference and empowering people, let's bring out our co-host, Sabrina Protic. She's the author, founder, and CEO of WEE, which is Women's Entrepreneurial Empowerment, into the conversation. So now Sabrina started WEE while working a job. Sabrina, what has inspired you to start WEE, and how does your platform empower women to make a difference?
Well, thank you, Sherry. Thank you for having me on and asking this question. I started because I felt that women needed to be more connected. Aside from attending a networking organization and passing business cards around, I felt like we really need to build relationships beyond meeting, just to say this is what I do. I'm an entrepreneur. So I started this with just me, and I went around and I kind of put that idea out to a couple of entrepreneurs and said, hey, this is what I like to do. How do you feel? Because they kind of felt that lacking too. And I really wanted to help women gain some exposure in the business community. So we started growing. This is about almost 4 years ago that we started this platform, and we meet once a month. I would venture to say all of these women, and they could attest that we all know each other personally. We meet, we support one another. We provide platforms for these women to be seen. We don't just discuss business. We talk about wellness. We talk about care. We talk about family. We talk about all the things that kind of make up this avatar, this woman, this female entrepreneur. And she may be a mother, a housewife, a grandmother. She wears many hats. And so we wanted to give these women a platform so that we would really get to know them and want to support one another.
Wow. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say, too, that it's been such a blessing to me because of the relationships that I've built, and I feel like my personal family has expanded out to include all of these women.
And, I was just along the line of what I was going to say. I can just imagine, and I always go back to when I was raising kids, because that's the pinnacle of a female's life, trying to raise kids, in the family and take care of everything on the outside. You talk about superwomen. We are superwomen when we're trying to do that. And so having an organization like that you can plug into, man, I think back, I wish I would have had someone like that, because in that time, at least for me, my person was my mom. You know what I mean? My mom or my aunt, who were on a different level, so to speak, because they had raised their kids. Where I needed a platform of people that were like-minded, like I was at that time. So I think that's an excellent organization and a great help to people. So in that organization, how can you see that it has changed your life?
It's changed my life significantly because it's helped me to understand the needs of women. I mean, I knew my circumstance. Yes, I was a career woman. Yes, I built my own online business, and I'm an author also. I was able to write my journey down on paper, but it's also helped me to understand the shoes that other women walk in and their needs, and I'm able to help address and serve those needs. And in particular, we had our big, organization meeting first of the year, and one of the entrepreneurs, she has 2 children, and I said, bring them, because she had a hard time finding a sitter. Bring them. How could you do that? Did you go to a networking event and bring your child? No.
Not at all.
And she brought no. And she brought him. He was awesome. You see, understanding the needs of women, and she needed our help. She's a huge support in our organization. So it's helped me to understand women and how I can help them. So you can find me on the internet at WEE-Women Entrepreneurs. That's WEE-Women Entrepreneurs. That's our website. Check us out. We have a lot of online mentorship things that we offer as well. Thriving Women's awesome, and I support Thriving Women. Many of the women have come from because we support this platform. So you can never stop empowering and supporting women. But to gain more of a female bonding and to get more of what I do, check me out. I'd be happy to have you come in and take advantage of some of the tools that we offer.
Well, thank you, Sabrina. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you offer. And, again, thank you for telling us how to get in touch with you, because it is one of the main things. We have women that are listening to this and hearing this, all over the world, this show, and they're going to need to know how to get in touch with you, because I'm sure there's plenty of women out there that will see the value in what you have. So I thank you so much. I know we ran a little bit over. Thank you. I want to thank all of our guests, Dana Johnson-Washington, Deidre Pittman, for sharing their business strategies. We want to thank our Thrive Tribe, Sabrina Protic, Andrea Bowenzi, Carmen Miller, Stacy Solie. Next week, we will introduce more thriving women and men. Next week, we will have the great Andrea Bowenzi back, so I'm so proud of that. I want to thank each and every one of you, for taking the journey with us and listening to Thriving Women Talk, powered by the Trendsetter Mentor Group. We're a membership for mentorship. Now, you can follow our hosts on Facebook or Instagram. If you are interested in joining the Trendsetter Mentor Group or being a guest on our Thriving Women show, just email a request to Daryl Johnson at inpartners@yahoo.com. We believe you will continue to thrive, not just survive, not just strive. I'm sorry, to thrive, not just strive. Thank you, everyone. Have an awesome, blessed day. We'll see you next week.